Hello everyone, this is part 38 of What If Naruto Failed and Chose a Different Path, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Haku found herself in quite the predicament with the other girls of Naruto's harem, and boy what a predicament it was. Her only hope of survival was not around, and the other potential hopeful was receiving quite the talking to from Tsunade. At the moment the current Hokage, who would want nothing more than to hang the three mini pranksters in training that were Naruto's disciples for making her more embarrassed than when she had lost to Jiraiya at STS Poker that one drunken night many years ago. She still needed to figure out where Jiraiya had hid all those pictures of that moment when it was over. Okay, start talking, said Ino, hoping that Haku would understand that as a girl coming from a clan of mental jutsu users, resisting was futile. We know it was Naruto you were out with, I can smell him on you. Also, can I have your clothes when you're done? Said Hana, making everyone faceplant on the ground before looking at the blushing girl. Okay, someone put the bee in heat outside while we get some straight answers, said Tayuya, who got hit in the head by the dog user for such a statement. What is there to answer what you already know? Said Zabuza, walking down the steps, having entered through the window of his room so he could watch the situation unfold and wonder if the chance as a missing ninja was still optional for him. You knew, said Temari, not liking the situation as they were kept out of the loop of this date and wondering why Naruto was not around at the moment. Of course. How else all of us involved able to get you distracted away from Naruto and Haku's date? Said Anko, walking down the steps and standing next to Zabuza. Oh, you two weren't screwing each other up there just now, were you? Said Tayuya, earning her being strangled by Anko's snakes while the said woman was blushing and Zabuza was actually thinking about the two of them getting together. I could get in a relationship with her, but what about Tsunami back in Wave? I do kind of like her, and her son has grown a spine from living under harsh conditions. Maybe if I play this right I could. Who am I kidding, that will never work, thought Zabuza as the thought of getting two women rather than one to be with him seemed impossible, but not improbable. I'm sorry for deceiving you all, as I know you love Naruto deeply. However, I ask you this simple question. If you discovered that or had been informed of his return and our date, would you have no doubt spied or sabotaged it for making it special? Said Haku as her face turned red at the end, remembering how romantic and special it had been. By this point the group had looked slightly guilty, as that was exactly what they would have done, since they still had that jealous mean streak in them that all women have when they don't want to share a man. Though it was kind of hard for Tayuya to feel guilty at the moment while being strangled by Anko's snakes. I suppose you were also involved in that little plan as well, said Tsunade, having her rage at the moment down, if only for the moment. A little, but not too much, said Arashi, looking at her before looking at the core that was sneaking out of the room. And where do you three think you're going? Said Tsunade, with her shadow towering above the scared trio. Home, said Konohamaru, hopefully, and hoping his title as the third's grandson would actually be useful in saving him this time. Then again, Tsunade was currently the fifth Hokage, so that may cause a problem for him. Really, I was thinking along the lines of the hospital, said Tsunade as she was now getting ready to pound the trio into paste. It's the return of the old hag Godzilla, yelled the core, as they ran for their lives, making almost everyone in the room burst into laughter. Almost. After hearing the Konohamaru core yell, Tsunade was so angry she had steam coming out of her ears as she gave chase after three pranksters. Guilty or innocent, Tsunade vowed to make those three pay. It's times like this I'm glad to be alive again, said Arashi, wiping away a tear from his fit of laughter. Yeah, you took those words out of my mouth. Well, I'm out of here. See you tomorrow, Zabuza-kun, said Anko, blowing the man a kiss, making the man blush under his white bandages. Okay, maybe such chances aren't that far off after all, thought Zabuza, wondering just how this was going to work with him or against him. Yeah, it is getting late. We should get to bed since we need the strength to hurt Haku tomorrow, said Temari, glaring slightly though playfully at the worried girl. Just so we're clear, when Naruto comes back again I get the next date as we all agreed, said Hana, walking up the stairs though wincing slightly from pushing herself too hard for today's training. Yeah, don't get your bee of a tail in a knot, said Tayuya, only to get a growl from Hana before the dog user bit her arm. Ahhhhh. The bee is biting me. The bee is biting me. Get her off. Get her off, yelled Tayuya from the top of the step, making everyone sweat drop at the two girls' antics. Should we be worried? Said Haku, looking at the steps. No, said the other girls in unison. Okay, the rest of you get to bed. You can berate Haku later for details on her date with Naruto later, said Zabuza, earning him a glare from Haku as she wanted him to forget about doing that, while the man just chuckled. 4 months later. Time had passed since Naruto's date with Haku and the girls grilling her for information the very next morning with her barely awake. The way that Haku had described the date made all the girls squeal with delight, wondering what the dates were going to be like. They were even more shocked to learn Naruto could walk without his cane for a good 15 minutes before he needed it for the remainder of the night. It was agreed upon by the girls, and witnessed by one Kazama Arashi, that all up-and-coming future dates would no longer be kept secret from each other. However, in return they all had to promise to neither spy nor sabotage the other girl's date that they were on with Naruto. They all agreed and told Naruto as a unison, surprising him slightly, but glad they agreed to such a promise nonetheless. It made him happy that the girls could finally get together and act as a real family without trying to fight for his attention. He told Hana he would have his date with her in a few days and that he had a surprise for her that would make her happy since it came from Demon World. He also shocked Kin, telling her that she would be joining Tayuya on his date with her since what he had in mind would be perfect for both former sound ninjas. Of course Tayuya was going to oppose this with every known curse word she could think of and make some up at the same time, but was stopped by Kin using one of her needles to hit the girl's bodily pressure point that controlled the volume of her voice, making her mute. This didn't sit well with the potty mouth of the group, turned mute and chased after the dark-haired ninja out of the room and all around the Kazama estate. I take it from the sound of the chase Tayuya doesn't like my decision, said Naruto, as it was more of a statement than a question. Considering she's temporarily mute thanks to Kin learning about pressure points from Haku during her training sessions, this is the minimum quiet you can get, said Hana before hearing several things go, in the house. You were saying, said Naruto through the speakerphone before sighing at Tayuya's violent behavior that was compensating for her lack of voice behind her foul mouth. I'll stop them, said Haku, leaving the group for 5 seconds before the sound of two boss dropped somewhere in the house. She got them, said Ino, seeing the Haku returning with the two, slumping him down in a nearby couch. That's good. I would rather they in the house stay in one piece while I'm away before I return, said Naruto, hoping that considering what he said the estate may not last week. You should see Sasum and Sakura fight. If it wasn't for Tsunade's strength training, Sasum would beat her hands down, said Temari, seeing one of the fights over her poor brother Gaara, though he seemed to be fine with it as long as neither cared the other. Though that line seemed to be stretched thin as it was. During the time that came and went, Kimimaro had told Tsunade along with Haku about the Fuma clan that Orochimaru originally promised power in order to restore their clan to the greatness they once held. He used a few of them for his experiments. Those that joined the late Sannin had never returned or had been twisted into something else that was more than alive. Those that opposed had left the ones that supported Orochimaru and hid within Rice Country to find a way to take their territory and clan back. This was further supported by Jiraiya's spy network telling of the Fuma clan trying to keep the small foothold they were starting to get before Danzo showed up with his fellow Root Anbu and took over the place with Homura and Koharu. Tsunade, realizing she could help the Leaf benefit in helping the Fuma clan and CSPLE Sound Village. She sent Gaara, Sakura, and Kimimaro along with Asuma to try and bring the anti-sound part of the Fuma clan over to the Leaf to start anew in order to fight its new sound rulers. It took some doing and near-death situations involving betrayals, by-traps, and the certain pieces of information that revealed a whole bunch of crazy but the mission was overall a success. It ended with Gaara now having another girl who wanted to be more than just a friend, and it didn't sit well with Sakura. Apparently the deal for the Fuma clan to head to Konoha was sealed with Sasum, who was part of the clan itself, to get married to Gaara later on and become its new clan head in the process. Originally Sasum hated Gaara for first accidentally coping a feel of her bee with an arm made of sand, even though he didn't realize she was girl due to all the heavy clothing she wore at the time. Sasam's hatred for him reached its peak later on after her attempt at betraying them to try and help save her cousin, named Arashi, who was slowly after fighting Gaara while under the disguise of Kabuto. Danzo had been continuing the late Snake Sanon's experiment and turned Sasam's poor cousin into a crude human puppet to be used by the loyal Fuma clan members. Sasam tried to help her cousin as best she could. Unfortunately, due to some if not all of Arashi's bodily alterations by Orochimaru early on, it made him a puppet in name as well, and Arashi had told them with Danzo in control as the puppeteer his strings could either be cut by Gaara or by new Cage of Sound. When Sasam couldn't make the choice, Gaara had to for her, and while Sasam tried to stop the sand user from doing it, Arashi told her it was all right. He simply smiled and said he loved her and to take care before Gaara covered the man's face and quickly ended the TD soul's life. Seeing this from his own glowing crystal ball, Danzo smiled slightly as he wanted to see just how such a new and promising experiment would fight for him. If what the former root leader turned Cage of Sound saw in the late Orochimaru's work that he had only beginning to run would test out on the Leaf group met his expectations, he could teach it to several of his groups of his root Anbu to use against Kohono. The fact that Arashi had looked like Kabuto before turning back before S was, as they say, irreverent to Danzo so long as the body that was Fuma clan ninja Arashi served his purpose. Now back in Kohono within less than a month later, Gaara was currently residing in the Fuma clan's new home as the new clan head, much to Sakura's displeasure. Fortunately, an opportunity presented itself to Gaara, allowing him, much to Kankuro's displeasure, to have both Sakura and Sasam without the potential bloodbath. Upon one of Gaara's physicals by Tsunade, it was determined that even without Shukaku, terror, sealed inside of him, the young boy from Suna had the bloodline limit to call his own. The bloodline limit known as Iron Sand, that ran in him had actually originated from the one-tailed demon lord many centuries ago during a visit from demon world to human, one of her more psychotic mating seasons. It was a very rare bloodline in Suna to possess, since it only popped up every few decades and the like due to the insularity of the demonic chakra that it came from. However, with terror having been sealed inside of him at the time with an incomplete seal, it had in actuality evolved the bloodline within Gaara to be permanently active and would also pass down such power from the bloodline limit into his descendants. Needless to say, like Naruto, Gaara had become prime beef in terms of women looking for that special guy. Though for now Gaara was content with being with Sasam and Sakura. Gaara wasn't the only one either, as Zabuza had returned with Anko along with Tsunami and Inari in tow. The family members from a now prosperous wave country wanted to see Kohono and what it was like for their heroes that saved them from Gato. Tsunami, however, had other reason that she talked over with her father, who after a large unanimous decision, made him the mayor of wave country, wanted her and Zabuza to be together. The woman from Wave was slightly terrified of Anko since the purple-haired woman was a ninja and also seemed to like Zabuza just as much as she did. However, after a great deal of talking, and swearing with Inari learning some new words, the two women decided to share Zabuza and help create the branch part of the Kazumata Fuzumaki clan. As for Inari, he came along wanting to become a ninja as well, seeing how his hero could become one, then so could he. Interesting thing about history though is that it tends to repeat itself in very unusual ways. In this case it involved the Hyuga clan, Inari, and one Hyuga Hanabi. Originally with the Hyuga elders gone, aka eliminated, and Hiashi now back in full control of the Hyuga clan once more, he dictated clan policy to help make the Hyuga bloodline stronger for future generations to grow on. Hiashi declared that the original seal that was used on the branch family would also be put on the main family, just without the servitude seal. In addition, the branch family would have the servitude seal part removed to make them feel more like family than mere servants to the main house. By doing this, the branch family would no longer have to act as degraded servants to the main house. This also gave security to the main house in regards to leaving the Hyuga compound without the sheer fear of losing their eyes should they in battle against an enemy like Cloud ever again. It was this event that the repeat begins. Flashback 2 weeks ago. One day Inari was walking around Kohono getting involved in the day-to-day life of his new home away from home when he turned a corner and bumped into someone his age. "Watch where you are going," said the female voice while Inari shook his head trying to figure out who or what hit him. "I'm sorry I didn't see you when I turned the corner," said Inari getting up and helping the person he found out was a girl, up from the ground. Well, watch it next time, said Hanabi, not in the best of moods ever since she had found her way of living in the Hyuga compound being much different than what it used to be. Hey, you're a Hyuga, right? Said Inari, looking at Hanabi, and after seeing her eyes saw what family she was related to. Yes, I am. Why do you want to know? Said Hanabi, curiously, taking a small moment to look at the boy, whom she mentally deduced was a commoner compared to her and the Hyuga clan of old. Keyword being old. Oh, I remember an older girl like you visiting Wave Country with Naruto Ni-chan named Hinata, who had the exact same eyes as you, said Inari, finding that her eyes were kind of weird, though he felt he shouldn't judge the girl by her looks or appearance, but rather the girl's personality. Please. That sister of mine was weak. Why that Kazama team would want to be with such a weak Hyuga is beyond me, said Hanabi, frowning, as she looked back on all that had happened in her life that involved those two. The verdict? A total snob, thought Inari, having heard about the Hyuga clan and how they acted snobbish around others before Naruto helped change things for the better. Apparently this girl missed the memo or the emotional upgrade the rest of the clan was getting. If she's so weak, then how come she's a chunin? Said Inari, having met the girl earlier at the Kazama estate with her wearing the chunin ranked vest after passing Tsunad's new assessment exam to determine a ninja skills outside the more glorified version that everyone was used to. Because she's with that Kazama boy she loves so much. Had she been with anyone else, then we wouldn't be having this discussion, said Hanabi, outright not caring about the angry-looking kid's face. You shut up. Those two help make a difference back home. If it wasn't for Naruto Ni-chan, my grandfather would not be alive and the people of Wave Country would still be s. So shut your face, or I'll shut it for you, hyuuga brat. Yelled Inari, not going to take such insults from anyone, even if it was from a girl or the Hyuga heiress, though he doesn't know, for that matter. Hanabi was shocked by Inari's yell and was about to give him a piece of her gentle fist to his face when Haku came up behind the Inari to greet the two. What's with all the yelling, Inari-san? Said Haku in civilian clothing, looking at the two kids before her. This Hyuga snob is insulting both Hinata and Naruto Ni-chan, said Inari, pointing an accusing finger at Hanabi, who glared at the boy. I am the heiress of the Hyuga clan, you fool. You will treat me with respect or else, said Hanabi, ready to activate her Byakugan and easily intimidate this simple out-of-town commoner. Or else what? I don't care if you were related to a Hokage. Your little title as Hyuga heiress is utterly meaningless unless you can back it up with hard work and dedication, said Inari, not backing down from this girl regardless of who she was or what political strength she may wield in Konoha. Fortunately, for the both of them, before things could get nasty, Haku created a thick ice mirror to keep the two at bay. Hanabi. Inari. Both of you stop it right now. Hanabi is right, Inari, you should treat her with respect, said Haku, seeing Inari's shocked face, while the young Hyuga girl smiled triumphantly on her side, though the boy couldn't see it. Told you, Inari Barker, said Hanabi with her head tilted upward as if anything he said was mute altogether. Stop it, Hanabi-san. Inari is also right, since titles are meaningless unless you work hard and are strong enough to live up to them. All they really do is make you target for your enemies, and if you are not careful, said Haku, leaving Hanabi to use her intellectual mind to figure it out what such defenselessness could spell for her or for the Hyuga clan. So in a way we are both right, said Inari, slightly confused as was Hanabi, who looked at the ice user curiously. Correct. In fact, one might say you two complete each other, said Haku, giggling at the hidden meaning, though Hanabi caught it seconds later, while Inari was slightly confused by the older girl's giggle fit. It was still a good thing that the ice mirror was up, or Inari would have seen one Hyuga Hanabi blushing in a similar manner to her older sister did when she was with Naruto. Seeing Inari still didn't understand, Haku decided to show what she meant and removed the ice mirror, blocking the two, revealing Hanabi's blush for the boy to see. Only then did Inari understand what Haku meant and blushed too. Well, this is certainly interesting. It seems history is repeating itself yet again in the ways of love, said Haku, giggling again, making both Inari and Hanabi to blush even redder. Come on, you expect me to believe I would like someone who acts like a snob when they don't know the meaning of the word hard work? I've heard about her clan from several of the other villages before Naruto Ni-chan helped them. How they were always thinking that they were better than everyone and how they think they are superior to everyone due to their eyes. I'd rather kiss a toad than be with a Hyuga snob like her, said Inari, nearly shouting while pointing to Hanabi. When Inari finished, however, For some reason what he had said hurt Hanabi deep in her heart, though for some reason she couldn't pinpoint why it did. Trained as she was by her father, Hanabi was not accustomed to emotional pain like this, since she felt that the heiress of the Hyuga clan should be beyond such things in life to prove they are strong. And yet, why did this hurt so much as the echo of his voice went through her head? Her body, it seemed, was reacting quicker than her mind was in this case, as her eyes filled up with tears, and before she could rationalize anything she started running away crying and looking for someplace to hide. Haku sighed when she saw this and cast a disappointed look at Inari, who to the boy's credit felt partially guilty for what he just said. I think you better go after Hanabi-san and find her, Inari-san. I don't think Naruto, much less Hinata, would like to see the girl sad after what you just said Haku, looking at the boy's face. Simply nod before heading off to find the girl. When the boy was out of sight, Haku walked away, though a small smile was on her face, feeling that her plan, though slightly rocky somewhere in the middle, had worked. Indeed, history does tend to repeat itself from time to time, thought Haku, heading home to the Kazama estate to talk to Temari, since it was nice to occasionally talk to a girl her own age. Hanabi found an abandoned corner of an alley and simply sat down and cried while she mentally berated herself for it, as she considered such a thing a weakness to her and the Hyuga clan. So why couldn't she stop? Hey Hanabi-san, where are you? Said Inari, not far from her position. Just great. It's bad enough I'm crying, but now that kid is going to rub it in my face and tell everyone how weak I am, thought Hanabi, hoping the boy that just insulted her only a few minutes ago would pass her and leave her alone. Such hopes were not meant to be. There you are, Hanabi-san, said Inari, finding her in the alley crying her eyes out and giving off sniffles here and there. Go away. Go kiss that toad you were talking about just now and leave me alone, said Hanabi, hoping once more he would leave her alone. Look Hanabi-san, I didn't come here to pick on you for what I said. I came here to try and apologize, said Inari, feeling guiltier over what he said, since he kind of thought that despite the girl's snobbish view of things, she did look beautiful. Ah really? Said Hanabi, shocked that someone who had insulted her clan one moment would willingly apologize. She silently wondered if the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse were running around. Fortunately, they had decided to extend their vacation for another 100 or so years. Yes, I am sorry for what I said, but you have to understand where I'm coming from. Back home in Wave Country, before Naruto and his team came along, we were all poor. People had little to no food because Gato was strangling our country dry and we had to take what we got. You, on the other hand, have had everything prepared for you by your servants in your mansion, who wait on you hand and foot. Sure, you've trained to be the Hyuga clan's heiress, but you've never seen the outside world. You have never seen just what it would be like to be on the opposite side of where you are now in life, said Inari. Just the painful image of his surrogate father flashed in his head right at spot where he sd. Hanabi realized the boy from Wave Country was right. She didn't know how bad others had it outside of her clan home, where she received food of the highest quality. Kids that were younger than even her were digging through trash cans or slowly starving to death. While she received fine clothes made from highly skilled tailors, there were people with rags that were itchy or put together from the material around them. He's right. I have been a complete snob, thought Hanabi, knowing that this was quite a revelation for her, and knew that this person in front of her could help her and others in her clan still loyal to the old ways to see Inari's way of thinking. I want to start over with you, Hanabi-san. Will you be my friend? Said Inari, holding out his hand for her to take. Hanabi was surprised by his gesture, but took it nonetheless. Rough hands, but gentle all the same, thought Hanabi before she realized what was happening. Her face turned a nice shade of red. What was it her father said about hands reflecting a person's life? Rough hands are the hands of someone who has had a harsh life, but works hard to survive. Rough hands are the hands that know how to work and are reflected upon others, that such a person with those hands was never pampered. Hanabi soon felt something in her stir in her heart again as she held the boy's hand, finding herself happy around Inari. Tell me, Hanabi-chan, have ever tasted ramen? Said Inari, grinning at her, making the girl blush more, not caring that he was holding her hand with such affection. It was the beginning of a beautiful relationship. End flashback. Of course that was the growing relationship, but let us focus on Naruto's own with his harem of strong and in-love women. For tonight was one Inuzuka Hana's date, and she, like the other two, Haku and Hinata, before her, was rushing to make herself look presentable. I can't wait to see him again after so long. It's a shame I have to wait a few more years before we're married or we can fool around, otherwise I would, thought Hannah, but her soon-to-be perverted thoughts were interrupted by ringing of the doorbell and the arrival of her date-out or future husband. Hannah at the moment was sitting on the couch in the living area at the time wearing a red with silvery soused kimono that was tight along the waistline, but showed off her figure nicely. Her hair she felt was to be kept down, but now she had it shining like glass on a polished mirror and her face had gone under intense facial under the care of Ino, making the Inuzuka markings on her face more distinguished. Distinguished, but in a beautiful way. It's not fair. Why does Dog B get to go and not me and Kin? And why do I have to share my date to begin with? Said Tayuya to Temari as she watched Hannah nearly leap to the door when the doorbell rang. Naruto takes us out on dates that fit us. With Haku it was ice skating due to her abilities to manipulate it. With Hinata it was dining at a restaurant and a walk through the park filled with all the flowers that she loves to press back home. With you and Kin it will be probably related to you too, music-wise, so relax. You'll get more than your fair share of the date and then some, said Temari, though in all honesty she was looking forward to her date with Naruto more than anything. Naruto-kun, said Hannah happily, opening the door, seeing the warrior of her dreams, and instantly she was flooded with images of what her children would look like when she gave birth to them with Naruto beside her as the proud father. My Hannah-chan, your face is radiating such a brilliant light, I thought I was looking at a star up in the night sky, said Naruto, making Hannah a red that would make a bull go on a rampage. Naruto himself was dressed in formal kimono that was silver with black lining that ran along his arms, his legs, and it had the kanji for Kazama on the back. Naruto also was sporting his ninja headband on his left elbow with his multicolored hair, now longer, was tied into a samurai-style ponytail. He also seemed to have a sword on the left side of his waist, though the hilt was not like the sword he normally had. Why can't he be 16 now so I can just ravage him here? Thought Hannah, mentally whined to herself while her inner self was howling and going into a fit, telling her conscious form he was old enough mentally and she should mate with him now. Shall we go, milady? Said Naruto, extending his hand out to her, which she took almost as quickly as he had offered it. Yes, of course, Naruto-kun, said Hannah as the two walked closely together, enjoying each other's comfort, heading to their destination whatever it may be. Meanwhile, far away on top of Kami's lookout. I never thought I would see you here, said Mr. Popo with his blank face looking right at Slade's masked one. I came here to ask a question in which I expect an answer, Mr. Popo, said Slade, being as nice as possible considering he needed to know certain things. Depending on the question you may get an answer, said Mr. Popo calmly, though even he was curious about the question. Is it possible to use the Dragon Balls to turn Yuhi Kurenai into a demon fox like myself or close to it? Said a now very serious Slade, hoping to get the answer he wanted. Mr. Popo was shocked by this, and he himself had wondered as well if one could simply be transformed on a wish from the Eternal Dragon. I suppose it is possible, but that final say would come from Shenron himself, provided he already hasn't made the same wish on another person, said Mr. Popo while his hand was on his chin in thought. Regardless, I'm going to find all 7 of balls and call forth the dragon myself some 2+ years from now, whether you approve or not, said Slade, knowing that he didn't need the fat dark-colored skinned figure for his approval. Even if Mr. Popo was the assistant guardian of the earth after many years of service of both Kami and his successor Dend, it wouldn't stop him. The current guardian was away on New Namek for a pilgrimage of sorts to see the young ones at play and to find a possible future successor before his time was up. I see. Well, I have been saving this in just this sort of emergency, should such a device ever be needed to find them, said Mr. Popo, throwing a round mostly white device at Slade, who caught it with ease. Ah yes, the Dragon Ball radar system that was built so many years ago. I had always wondered what happened to it, said Slade, eyeing the device in his hands. It's in perfect working order, I can assure you. Batteries included, said Mr. Popo, hoping things turned out for the best. Good. Take care, Mr. Popo, said Slade, disappearing in a flash of flame. I miss the simple good old days, said Mr. Popo before going over to water the plants that needed it. Kohona with Naruto and Hannah. Naruto, cane in hand, walked with Hannah, who was holding his other hand while snuggling into his end, planting kisses and licks on it. Calm yourself, Hannah-chan, were almost at the spot, Naruto with his face getting a hint of red on it as his words that seemed to make her even more aggressive in her kisses. I know Naruto-kun, but if I stop now I'm afraid I'll find it's all a dream and I'll wake up finding I need a clean pillow, said Hana, letting out a dog-like whimper only for Naruto to turn his head, kiss her right on the lips for a good 10 seconds, tongue and all. I envy the pillow at night knowing it gets more attention from you than me, said Naruto just as they entered the spot they had planned for the date. On top of the Hokage monument. Didn't you take Haku here? Said Hana, curious as to what Naruto had planned and was hoping he wasn't doing the same date trail as Haku. Yes, but with Haku I could only be here for a little while. With you I can stay here much longer. Look over there, said Naruto, pointing with his cane 2 heads down to the third Hokage's head. Hana followed his cane to where he was pointing it and saw Kurama there in a waiter's uniform standing next to a table with 2 chairs in opposite direction of one another with food already prepared. We are eating on top of the monument, said Hana, shocked at this little turn of events. Yes, and in a very romantic setting I might add, said Naruto, turning his head upwards slightly so Hana would look up as well. When she did she gasped and realized what Naruto meant. She was, happily, having her date with Naruto, eating on top of the Hokage monument, and outside during a full moon. If there was a master of romance then Kazama Uzumaki Naruto was definitely the guy to fit that position. Naruto-sama and Hana-sama, your table and food await, said Kurama, motioning them to come forward and take a seat. I hope you don't mind, but I kind of ordered ahead for us both. Your Aunt Rin said that your favorite meal was spaghetti and meatballs, so I thought it would be perfect for this little event, said Naruto, having Hana sit down first before pushing in her chair like a gentleman should. Hana found she could barely prevent her face from blushing such a red that it covered up her Inuzuka birthmarks as Naruto sat in his own chair that Kurama pushed in for him as well. Sake, said Kurama, holding a bottle in his hand. I think I can, but Naruto-kun is, said Hana, but Naruto politely raised a hand telling her to stop. Hana, I know you are being polite, but I assure you I can have sake. After all, when you are old enough to become a shinobi and it's more than enough to make you qualified to have a drink or two. Besides, my physical makeup prevents me from getting drunk whether it's from a small cup or if I choose to drink the whole bottle, said Naruto, letting out a chuckle at Hana's surprised expression. Damn. At first, when he said that I was happy in the hopes that we could both get drunk and fool around, thought Hana, as her secret plan was shot down almost as fast as it had been made. Oh well, better to have planned than never planned at all. Tell me, Hana-chan, how has everyone been while I was away? Said Naruto, as they both started eating their meal and enjoying the other's company. Well, for the most part everything has been peaceful in Konoha, though Anko keeps getting these calls from this woman named Maya from this place called Geo Front. She keeps calling Anko for advice regarding this woman who is her boss named Ritsuko. It's driving the snake mistress nuts. If she sees you again, Naruto-kun, she'll be out for blood, and since she can't get to Slade she'll take you as the runner-up, said Hana, smirking, and gave Naruto a wink with mischievous look in her eyes. I'll have to keep my eyes and ears open for anything she might pull, though I still have some good blackmail left that I can use should she try anything, said Naruto, giving off his own mischievous look at Hana. You are such a naughty boy, Naruto-kun, said Hana before eating more of her meal in a very sensual manner to focus Naruto's eyes entirely on her. Not that he already was. I managed to balance myself, said Naruto, eating his meal in a grace that one would see a fox do if a fox ate spaghetti with class before taking a small bit of sake to his lips. This went on for nearly an hour, with the two eating, drinking, and talking about what had been going on in their lives since Naruto went to Demon World for healing. So far Hana had learned that Naruto was still undergoing treatments for his body, though he was proud to admit he was almost halfway healed. According to Hiei, Slade, and Kurama, who were supervising his treatments, at the rate he was going, Naruto could quite possibly get his body healed ahead of schedule to train and even get home earlier than expected. When Hana had heard this, she practically squealed with joy, only to blush from the sheer embarrassment of it all, while Naruto simply laughed at it, amused at her reaction. Makes you wonder what other noises she can make when we're alone together, thought Naruto, taking a sip of his sake while enjoying the facial expression on Hana's face. Finally, after a good 2 hours of being bathed in the moonlight during the date, Naruto decided to give Hana the gift that was in all truth, a part of her birthright. I hope you have enjoyed yourself, Hana-chan, said Naruto, rising from his seat and walked over to her to assist her. Of course, Naruto-kun, I loved every minute we spent on this date, said Hana, loving the fact that she was treated with the respect and dignity of a queen. It's about to get better, as I have a gift for you, said Naruto, making the young girl in front of him blush with a perverted look in her eyes. I get a gift from you, Naruto-kun. If this keeps up, you'll spoil me, said Hana, kissing him along the earline, ignoring the fact that Kurama was watching and wondering why he could never get a girl. Maybe I should ask Botan out, thought Kurama, knowing that the Grim Reaper had a crush on him due to his own charm when he used it. After all, it would help prove to everyone he was not a girl, despite the times when guys thought he was and asked him out. In an alternate universe in Wave Country, a male Haku sneezed after talking to a Naruto in that timeline. If it means getting more kisses like these, then I'll spoil you to your heart's content. Now all I need for you to do is close your eyes, and when I tell you to open them, you'll see the gift I wish to give you, said Naruto, smiling at Hana's squeal of excitement that every girl getting a gift gave. Once Hana's eyes were closed, and Naruto made sure they were, he moved to the sword at his waist and removed it, sheath and all, to present to the girl. During his recent stay in Demon World, he was told that the descendant of the great demon lord Sesshomaru, known only as Sesshoto, was and had no heir worthy for his sword Tenseiga to call master. When Naruto paid his respects and visited the aged demon lord, he told him of the human descendants in Human World that have the watered-down version of his family's blood. When Naruto explained that Rin had received the ancient sword of Inuyasha that was Tesseiga, and that Rin had a niece named Hana, who healed other animals, the old demon dog realized what Naruto was getting at. With what strength Sesshoto could possess, he gave the sword to Naruto in hopes that Inuzuka Hana was just the girl this sword needed. It was now time to test Hana and hope she was the one. Though Naruto was fairly certain she was, since there could be no one else worthy of such a blade that could heal others in a single strike. You can open your eyes, Hana-chan, said Naruto, allowing the said girl to see the sword present to her, and all she could do was gasp. Weren't you just wearing this sword at your waist, Naruto-kun? Said Hana, looking at the sword before looking back at Naruto in shock. It was never meant for me, but rather you. Go ahead, take it. It's yours both by right and by blood, said Naruto before Hana nodded and picked up sword and unsheathed it. I can feel a strange yet familiar chakra running through my body, said Hana, slightly afraid, though she calmed down when Naruto just smiled. That means you are the one, Hana-chan. Congratulations, said Naruto, giving her a proud smile before explaining the significance of the sword, where it came from, and why he wanted her to have it. Naturally, she was thrilled that a part of her clan's heritage had been recovered and could be used to help those that needed it. However, she was reminded that the sword cannot be used to heal the same persons more than once, and to expect it not to if she tried to do it on a person or animal she had already healed. Thank you, Naruto-kun, I shall use it wisely, said Hana after putting the sword back into its sheath and giving him a warm-filled hug before putting it into the left side of her waist in her kimono. I know you will, Hana-chan. Let's take you home now. I have this feeling that if we stay out any longer, the girls are going to come out here to investigate, said Naruto, knowing that even with the promise they made not to interfere, their female instincts may get the better of them. That was something Naruto wanted to avoid at all cost. Kazama Estate 15 minutes later. The walk had been slightly slower than usual, as Hana had insisted upon it, so this moment with him would last forever. When they got to his estate, Naruto kissed her right hand to bid her goodbye for now, but promised to return for the sequel of this date. With that, Hana was left blushing outside the estate for a good 5 minutes, while Naruto had already left, as a portal had opened up for him to enter after Slade arrived with what seemed like an evil grin hiding behind his mask, if his one eye was any indication. Hana had gotten out of her blissful moment and was about to enter when Anko made an appearance, looking hot and bothered from sheer embarrassment. Where is he? I am so going to castrate the demon lord son of AB, said Anko, as she looked around for Slade, having followed him back to the estate after her embarrassing moment that he had caught with just a flash from his camera, with the image it produced forever burning the evil moment of her in it. What happened now, Anko-san? Said Hana, wondering what could get the woman all upset and bothered. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. That no-good demon lord of a fox took Kurenai out to a fancy restaurant, performed a shadow clone before he had the clone turn into a hanged version of me, and told the waiter that I would take up the bill. Plus he had the clone put a big tip from my account to them just for the hell of it. To make it even worse is that when I found out what happened shortly after he did it, he kissed Kurenai goodbye before rushing off with me running after him only. He surprised and tripped me, causing me to skid and my skirt to move at an angle, revealing my underwear to the world. He took a picture of it too," said Anko, yelling at the end while trying to find out which way Slade went. "Oh well, you're out of luck, Anko, because Slade took Naruto back to Demon World now that our date is over, so good luck with that," said Hana, walking into the estate calmly, though mentally she wanted to laugh out loud at Anko always getting into the most humiliating and embarrassing moments with the Demon Lord. Anko, however, didn't want to laugh about this, but rather scream out curses that not even Tayuya knew existed within the realm of swearing. And scream them she did, which caused Anko to lose more money for all the swearing fines that she had received and was forced by Tsunade to pay regardless of all her reasons behind it. No matter how valid a point the snake user made. Had Anko knew Kurenai was laughing when the entire thing had started and ended, there would have been no doubt to anyone that the snake sadist of an interrogator would have probably screamed out more curses than she already did. Even more so if she knew Zabuza had received a copy of the picture shortly after he had returned Naruto back to Demon World. It was also a shame for Tayuya too, as she didn't have a pencil or paper on hand when she heard them in the estate to learn them all. Not that the red-headed girl would have been able to speak them out loud, of course. KOHONA 2 months later. Naruto exited the portal with Slade, who the vessel noticed had been making more and more visits to Human World in search of something. However, what the something was the Demon Lord wouldn't say what, and each time though from the seriousness on Slade's face it must have been important. Though today wasn't one of those times since and became normal routine at the moment in seeing Kurenai and going on more dates. Along with other activities as well that young children should never see. Behave yourself, Naruto, and don't be surprised if Kin or Tayuya try to jump you after this is over. They've become very eager from what Kurenai told me on our last date at that highly priced restaurant that Anko-san generously paid our bill for the meals that we ordered, said Slade, laughing slightly at how he got the poor woman so many times in embarrassing positions with pictures for proof. The last one he made a king in selling to Zabuza for him to keep on those cold long away from Kohono mission nights. And who said being a demon, much less a demon lord, didn't have its perks? "I'll be careful, don't worry Slade-san," said Naruto, no longer needing his cane since the treatments required had healed some 60 to 70% of his boss injuries. Still pushing his body before it was 100% again would be stupid, as it was foolish since Naruto would need his body at 100% when he was training with Yusuke. "Good. I spoke to Jin and Hiei earlier and they said that everything is set up for your date with the two girls. Behave yourself." Slade nodded, knowing that the boy knew what he was referring to about utilizing too much physical activity on his body before leaving a blast of fire. All the while Naruto wondered how Hiei got talked into helping him with this date. In Demon World, Hiei's sister Yukina sneezed and wondered who was talking about her. Shortly after that, Naruto walked up to his estate and rang the doorbell, which he felt was still weird to him since it was his house by right as the heir to his clan. Then again, this was a date with two lovely girls, so why look a gift horse in the mouth? Tayuya and Kin came out looking quite impressive in his eyes, and he and theirs, as they each took one arm of his and walked to their secret location away from those that may ruin the moment. Akka, the Erosenin, and his book for future 40-year-old virgins. Tayuya was wearing a nice red kimono to match her hair, which was now past long and past her shoulders, with the kanji symbol for flute fox on her back. She also had a picture of a fox playing the said instrument on top of a tree to go with it. Kin was wearing a whitish-gray kimono that also had the kanji symbol for Hell's Bells on it, with a picture of a fox listening to a bell in the background of a nearby forest with a look of pure serenity. As for Naruto, he was wearing a grayish-silvery kimono with a black-colored sash around his waist and red lines going down each arm. On the back of it he had the kanji for fox fire, and a picture of a fox covered, if not already surrounded in fire, all the while roaring to the heavens around it in its dark night-like surroundings. All three of them were enjoying this moment, walking together, heading to the mysterious location that Naruto had planned for the date. "I do hope you are ready for what I have planned for you too," said Naruto before kissing them both on the lips, making the former sound ninja blush red while enjoying the feel of his body with their own. "From the way Hana talked about your date with her, Naruto-kun, she was a small breath away from jumping you right after dinner, so what you have planned for our date must be really something," said Kin before glaring at Tayuya to tell her to keep her mouth in check and to keep her swearing to a minimum. Tayuya of course saw the glare and returned with her own that told Kin to shut up, since she knew that to enjoy this moment with Naruto she would have to censor herself. Though it might as well been the end of the world for anyone else who knew things. Indeed it will be Kin-chan. I just hope that you and Tayuya-chan enjoy it, said Naruto as he had spent all his time getting ready for this when he wasn't getting the treatments that his body needed. The three of them eventually entered a secluded spot away from Konoha, yet in the realm of its walls that kept its people safe from harm. In this secluded spot there was a stage of sorts with many chairs with musical note holders in front of them. To the side of it, musical instruments next to the chairs, two very cushiony-like chairs with food next to each seat that were farther away, and on the main stage itself was a large golden-colored organ with 2 rows of playing keys. What in the world? Said Tayuya, as she looked at the giant golden instrument in sheer wonder of its design. You two get seated so I can get this show started, said Naruto walking up to the girl's seat, and when he saw they were seated he turned around and headed for the center of this mystical arena he had created for his dates. This is going to kick ass, said Tayuya, and for once Kin could only agree, as she had known from the moment Naruto fought her former sound team member in the prelim exams that when he did something he went all out to the utmost maximum. Okay, let's get this event started. Multi-shadow clone jutsu, said Naruto, cracking his knuckles in a double open palm form before making the necessary hand sign and using the required amount of chakra he needed for this, and made over 30 clones of himself. Right after that moment the clones, himself included, hanged their clothing to make it look like they were going to be performing in an orchestra of some kind. Holy s, thought Tayuya, as she realized her mind was about to be blown away by such an event. Kin was thinking along those lines as well within her mind and didn't mind swearing in the process. The original Naruto got on the main stage and took a bow to the two ladies, smiling at the two girls with an all-knowing smile on his face. Meanwhile, Naruto's shadow clones all got into position to conduct with their instruments, with one clone acting as conductor for when it would be appropriate. Last, Tayuya and Kin blush, I welcome you two to this very promising event, which I trust you will find most entertaining and enjoyable for your date with me. While we are in a secluded spot from the rest of Konoha, the music I will be playing will be echoing over the entire village itself. However, they will be getting but an echo of the experience you, my lovely dates, Kin and Tayuya blush, will be receiving here today. All that I ask is that you don't fall asleep, no throwing food at me or each other, and that you two just sit back, relax, and enjoy the music I am about to introduce to you here today, said Naruto, walking over to the huge organ before flexing his fingers slightly to test out all the joints, and proceeded to get ready to play. Kin and Tayuya gripped their seats, waiting with anticipation, knowing this was going to be a grand sight to behold. Would a man with long white hair, super pervert, and author of Ika Ika Paradise, who is currently parked in the hot springs, please stop peeping on the women's section, said a female voice echoing throughout Konoha that sounded like Naruto in his Seijutsu from making Kin and Tayuya nearly face-plant themselves at what they just heard. It didn't do wonders for one-toed-san either, as fate would indeed have it. Jiraiya was in fact in the hot springs peeping on the women's section, and all for his researching. Needless to say, even Tsunade had a hard time healing him, since she had also helped in hurting him too, if his screams for mercy were any indication. Sorry about that, Kin-chan and Tayuya-chan, but my super pervert bashing senses had kicked in. So without further delay I present to you my musical vision, to you simply known as Mitternacht, said Naruto, pressing the keys ever so slightly on the organ to give it a small test. Oh, and if you see some spirits flying around singing, don't freak out, said the clone conductor before turning its attention to the others, who were getting ready to play their instruments. Spirits. Singing spirits, thought Kin and Tayuya as Naruto started pressing on the keys of the massive organ, getting their attention. Mitternacht. Gelichter. ... Mitternacht. Wenn es Gondeln Trauer Tragen. Und es halt der Toten Klagen. Tief im Nacken das Grauen sitzt. Wenn es Uhr beginnt zu schlagen. Kalt, dick Nebelschwaden. Beruhen dick Sagt. ... Mitternacht. Spirits are now riding from the ground around Naruto and his clone orchestra. Loca Inferna in Noct. Loca Inferna in Noct. Anime in Nebula. ... Mitternacht. Media Nox Obscura Nox. Crudelitas Animarum. Campana Sonnet. Duodices. ... Mitternacht. Media Nox Obscura Nox. Crudelitas Animarum. Campana Sonnet. Duodices. ... Mitternacht. Gefriert das Blut dir in den Adern. Schnert dir es Angst es Kel zu. Horst du den Herz und es Glocken. Schlagenist es Nacht. Mitternacht. A great deal of chakra is swirling around Naruto. Loka Inferna in Nacht. Loka Inferna in Nacht. Anime in Nebula. Mitternacht. Media Nox Obscura Nox. Crudelitas Animarum. Campana Sonnet. Duodices. Mitternacht. Media Nox Obscura Nox. Crudelitas Animarum. Campana Sonnet. Duodices. Mitternacht. Chakra is now swirling around Naruto at a near dangerous rate, playing with more emotion in his movements. Media Nox Obscura Nox. Crudelitas Animarum. Campana Sonnet. Duodices. Mitternacht. Media Nox Obscura Nox. Crudelitas Animarum. Campana Sonnet. Duodices. By this point Naruto was slowly stopping his playing before letting out a semi-evil if not entirely evil-sounding laughter at the end for effect. The spirits singing along with him had stopped as he had stopped playing with the song now finished. They all bowed their heads before leaving to who knows where, while the shadow clones of Naruto got up from their seat and took a proud bow with the original. They had every right to, as Tayuya and Kin clapped and whistled at such a performance with tears in their eyes at such a performance the young teen had conducted. The two girls weren't the only ones, as the entire village of Kohono was clapping and some shouting for an encore of such music. Alas, we are out of time in terms of music, said Naruto, walking up to his two dates as they ran up to him, meeting him halfway and nearly tackled him off his feet, planting kiss after kiss on him. Naruto-kun, that was great. If we were 16 right now and your body was at 100% I would foo, said Tayuya, only to be silenced by Naruto via his lips on hers and Kin's punch to the ribs. Though had Tayuya not said it, Kin might have in her place. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.